From Careco TV, one of the longest running outdoor programs on television today, exploring the country and the coast in search of adventures. From the mountains of the Great Northwest to the shores of the Atlantic Ocean, this is Americana Outdoors, presented by Garmin. This week on Americana Outdoors, we can't quite keep our mouths shut, and we're spilling all the secrets we have about secret lures. And later, we're heading down to Texas, where we'll tag along on some exciting hunts with Umarex Airguns. To kick things off, we're keeping things extra stupid with the Secret Lures Stupid Tube. This tube puts secret lures on the map, and the first thing you need to ask yourself before you throw this bait is what size of tube do you want to throw? The Secret Lures Stupid Tube comes in 3 distinct sizes: the 3.7 Stupid Tube, the 4.2 Flippin' Stupid Tube, and the 4.5 Big Dummy. Along with 3 flavors of tubes to throw, Secret Lures also designed jig heads exclusively to fit these tubes. Let's cast it over to the Secret Lures man himself, Danny Blanford, to give us a breakdown of the best pairing decisions you can make with the Stupid Tubes and the STH series of hooks.
In regards to hook selection, the standard 3.7 Stupid Tube is designed for the STH line of hooks. The HD hook does fit it, but we don't recommend it. It doesn't fit well, and it's an awkward rig, so we try to steer people away from putting the HD hook in the 3.7. That hook in particular was made to fit the other 2 sizes. The HD is the perfect hook for the 4.2 Flippin' Stupid Tube. That's the middle size one. If you want to go even larger, that's where the 4.5 Big Dummy comes in. What we found through customer feedback on the Big Dummy was guys wanted to take this out and expand their tube game to deeper water, more offshore type stuff. And that's where the Stupid Tube Ledge Head was born. It is the only jig head in the series that's a 5/0. Also has what I call a cross-eyed line tie. This is set up perfect for dragging. Just like you would drag a football jig, now you can rig a big weight in a tube and drag a tube. Obviously a person can tinker with these and come up with unique applications in different scenarios, but out of the gate, check out our chart. Shows you everything you need to know about which hooks are suitable for which tubes.
Once you've decided which tube size and jig head combo you want to throw, you still need to know how to rig them to create a flawless, weedless fishing system to trigger those predatory fish responses. Let's see Danny's secret to rigging success that will guarantee strikes and catches.
First thing I can suggest to people is before you ever poke a hole in your tube, take a look at where your jig head hook needs to be coming out of your tube. If you do it correctly, that hook should lay flat on the back of the tube. Then I go and I make sure I'm centered in the middle of the tube. Once I've got that center, I'll grab a hold of it like this. I'm coming down the tube and I'm kind of watching that hook point. Where is it at? Where is it at? And I get right to the end of my thumb and I can feel it and I pop it out. Before I go any farther, I look and make sure it looks like I'm coming down the center line of the tube. In this case, I am. It's laying right down the middle and I'm the right distance back from the tube. And then I just start working this 1/4 ounce in. With the smaller sizes, you can just pull it in there and make the turn. With the 1/4 ounce, you've got to work the plastic. Now I'm getting to the difficult spot. I'm getting ready to make this turn. To make that turn, I'm pulling and working from the top on this 1/4 ounce head. And right there, it just happened. It popped right over the eyelet and I'm snugging it into the tip and I have not torn out the bottom. The next thing I do is I turn it around and I personally fold the tube up along the hook shank because then I can see that that hook is still staying centered. Follow it all the way up and all I'm doing is pushing the butt of that tube up towards it. So now I'm gonna pop that through and start working it around. If you've got it laying flat, you've got what we intended for you to do. And the last thing I do is I double check and I make sure I've got my plastic centered up on the tip and then I pop the eyelet out. That tube is ready to go.
We'll return to the water in just a moment, but in the meantime, take this opportunity to subscribe to our Americana Outdoors YouTube channel. Inspired by the success of the unique stupid rigging concept for tube baits, the Secret Lures Stupid Craw is a further expansion of a custom design that flat out catches. Here's a few ways you can prep the bait for different presentation styles.
Right out of the package, you'll see the Stupid Crawl comes with the claws attached. They're connected at the front, and they're connected at the back. You can fish this bait this way. They've got a tight flapping action and not a lot of twirl to them. With a simple cut of them, which is how most people fish it, you end up with the tips loose. That elongates the bait and makes the crawls action very exaggerated. So they swim and it makes the bait look long. But there's so many other things you can do. You take that same set of claws and cut them the other way, and you've got the perfect set of pinchers on your crawl. You can remove those altogether. Say the water's cold or you're fishing, you know the crawfish are small, get rid of the loops altogether. Now you've got just a small pointed set of claws that makes the bait much smaller and kind of mimics maybe a more natural crawfish size in crawfish pinchers. If you're into wild swimming crawls and action, chop those tips off altogether, make a simple slit in, and then come back, and that should look familiar to you as a swimming claw, and that'll give you a more pronounced up and down action as you reel that bait in or as you hop that bait.
We're hopping over to Choke Canyon Reservoir, where Wade Middleton has been landing fish after fish, to the point they've turned his stupid craw into a stupid grasshopper. Let's see how easy it is to re-rig this bait.
Those two little rigging dots sure make things easy, and then that little channel right there to put the bait inside and poke the eye out like that. You're good to go. This is a little bit better fish here. Oh yeah, 4 or 5 pounder, maybe 3. Not a big item, but he's definitely heavier. Oh, look at that fish. That is so cool. I mean, we have weeded through a lot of smaller ones. Now we've got a real one right here. Come here, buddy. Got you. That's so awesome. That's a fun one right there. I mean, we're just making the same cast. Now that one came in a little deeper. A lot of these other fish, he came in about 3 or 4 feet, and that one there probably came in 5 to 6 out there because it got through maybe all the other ones and got in there. Same bait, same style, same back channel. We will do it again. We have got them fired up, and I believe when you got them fired up, you just get back out there.
When you start thinking about jig selection, Secret Lures has you covered. Their selection of jigs can be broken down into 4 categories: the MVP Flippin', the MVP Football, the MVP Finesse, and last but certainly not least, the MVP Swim Jig.
You know, when I look at swim jigs, there's so many different options out there. For me personally, that means I've been fishing with the Secret Lures MVP Swim Jig, and there's a lot of things I really like about that particular swim jig. The northern version is basically a 1/4 ounce swim jig with a 5/0 medium gauge mustad hook. The southern version is a 3/8 ounce with a 4/0 heavy gauge hook. In addition to that, they've got a 1/2 ounce one that features a 5/0 saltwater hook, and it's specifically built for braided line. They also are very well balanced, have a gliding action that's been really perfected for each of the weights, and the skirt can be, you know, customized to the application that you're going to be looking to use them, which really pays off for a lot of the people that are going to be, you know, looking at different types of bluegill colors specifically, because there's so many different colors of panfish across the nation that you're going to want to match your trailer and specifically the skirt of your swim jig to. Chunky thing, isn't he, right there? He's got some shoulders on him. Let him go. That's the kind of bite you like to see right there. It's hard to capture all this, but I'm at the end of the grass right here. A little bit lighter weight one right here, 1/4 ounce. I mean, this water is only 2 to 3 feet deep that we're fishing. Out here on the edges, I probably could throw that 1/2, but swimming through this, through the top, and I'm dropping it, letting it fall, twitching it, letting it drop, letting it fall. And, you know, on the fall, a lot of these bites are coming in those holes as I run it into that grass, and that one there just smoked it. I mean, he'd already swam probably 4 or 5 feet before I was able to pick up and catch up with him, and got lucky that it didn't rip out of his mouth that time, because a lot of times when those fish get their head turned down and they get to going that direction, you're in a bind. That was a classic drop the rod, swim jig bite.
To all the anglers who've been keeping the secret of Secret Lures under wraps all these years, we're so sorry that all your buddies are now going to know what you've been hiding. To everyone else who's just learning about the secret to success, take a moment to visit secretlures.com to add these winning baits and jigs to your tackle box. And remember, guys, if you're going to do something stupid, do it right. We'll return to the field in just a moment, but in the meantime, take this opportunity to subscribe to our Americana Outdoors YouTube channel.
The air gun craze has really been sweeping the nation. More and more states are, opening up all different types of hunting for it. And what it's done is created another means and another method for people to get out and enjoy the outdoors. But they've also created a big surge among youth actually spending time out just shooting. We had a youth camp out here not long ago and we were shooting balloons. They're fun to shoot, but like anything, you need to, practice safe, responsible shooting. So in the last few years, we've been kind of diving in and learning more about the air gun hunting world. We have taken a lot of different species and we've seen, a lot of guys take different species with what they call the hammer, which shoots a 50 caliber projectile that weighs 250 to 330 grains, I believe it is, at a speed big enough that you can do some damage on some big game animals.
We're joining Wade in the field with the 50 caliber Umarex hammer air rifle in a muddy Southside 360 blind. With wind gusts over 30 miles an hour today, this hunt is proving to be rather tricky.
I'm starting to question my sanity if I don't need an extra 500 pounds on the front of this trailer. The entire trailer is lifting off the ground in front of us at times. It's shaking, we're bouncing around. I mean, it is amazing what this wind is doing, but we're starting to see stuff. There's a couple of white-tailed does moving through the area. A group of aoudad have now kind of filtered in and now it's just really, when I'm aoudad hunting, I'm spending a lot of time glassing, trying to find the most mature one that I can find. We're watching this group of aoudad in the winds, and they're filtering back and forth between the water trotches, kind of like what we would expect. Gentry's able to move like crazy in the blind because it's moving a lot. They don't even know we're there. We've got aoudad passing within 5 yards of us at this point. And, as we're looking, there were two of them in the herd that had kind of caught my attention. I can see him standing there right now. I didn't hit him that time. He's hit hard though. He's hit really hard. Boy, that went down fast. We had them around us for 30, 45 minutes. And just a milling of ewes and their babies and some 2 or 3 big rams, and that was the biggest one that I saw, and he kind of kept milling around, started headed towards that water, and I tried to get him stopped right there and really hit him hard, but I kept thinking he would fall. I really didn't have a good second shot through all that brush, but my opinion is when you've got an extra round, and that's one thing about this hammer, you actually have 2 shots in it, so I was trying to get another round into him. I believe you take another shot if you can when you hit an animal, and I hit him hard. I mean, he's gonna be done. We're gonna recover him. It's just a matter of time. I've tracked enough of these aoudad that, we went back to watch the footage and then we loaded up all your buddies just like you do when you're in a hunting camp. You want extra eyes. But there's a thing I'll tell you about aoudad. Aoudad's big mane, when the blood is flowing down that, can run down into those chaps and you don't get a great blood trail. And that's really what happened here. We knew we had a lethal shot, but we weren't finding a lot of blood. Well, the good sounds of when you're out trekking with your buddies in the dark and go, oh, got him. That's what Scott was saying back behind me, and sure enough, he's piled up right here. I mean, you can see the blood out of him now. He's stiff. He was dead when we got out of the blind. See if I can get him rolled over here. That's a beast of an aoudad right there. I mean, a beast. That was the hammer doing action. There's the hit right there. And I mean, we got him. I couldn't be happier. Can't be more excited. I mean, this is a big aoudad. I'll have a 3/4 body mount on this guy to tell the story, shooting him with a big air gun. And it's something I think a lot of people ought to look at. It's another means and methods. It's another great way to hunt. And that Umarex hammer, it got the job done.
We'll return to the field in just a moment. But in the meantime, take this opportunity to subscribe to our Americana Outdoors YouTube channel. We're in camp with a good friend of ours, George Cummins. Wade and George go way back and have been trading off hunts between South Texas and Kentucky for years. This time, he's back at it with his sights set on finally taking an axis back home. George has had quite the history with axis deer, and we'll let him fill us in.
My history with axis, once I decided I wanted to start hunting them, was very, very checkered. I felt like I was cursed. Been down multiple times, several close encounters, wanted to do it with archery equipment at first. That's when I realized how hard it is to shoot one of these animals with a bow. They're so skittish. So my first trip to South Texas with the air gun was in January. Hunted 3 or 4 days, several close encounters. I personally screwed one of those encounters up. The big axis I was going after come back out the very next day, but he had shed his antlers. So my hunt was basically over. Wanted to go back, try to redeem myself, and the best time to do that's in April. This trip we're hunting with the Umarex hammer, the 50 cal air rifle that they've made. I've been shooting it a lot, I gotten a lot more comfortable with it, and I'm gonna tell you right now, this gun is so much more accurate than I ever thought an air rifle could be. And it has some knockdown power, let me tell you. First morning of our hunt, sun starts breaking, saw several whitetail, and a good axis buck actually came in right off the bat, which is very strange to me because I've been cursed winning when hunting axis. And honestly, I was heeing and hawing back and forth whether or not I should shoot that axis because he was a good one. He's beautiful, in velvet, everything was perfect, he was right where we needed him. But it was day one, you know, and I didn't want to settle. It was a great axis, but it wasn't that monster I was really after. Decided to pass on him, and boy, am I glad I did, because it wasn't 10 minutes later, the giant walks in. As he started to ease on out, it was a surreal moment for me because that was when I realized, I think it's actually going to happen. I'm finally going to get my shot at this giant axis that I've been after for years.
Drilled him, I heard it. Pretty sure I just smoked him. That was a big axis, which I've been after for at least 3 years, maybe 4 now. Full velvet, such beautiful animals. They're so smart too. They're hunted year round down here, and I mean, they're just real weary animals, almost like a turkey that's been call shy is what I tell everybody. I've been hunting them for 3 years with my bow. No luck with that, so I finally decided to bring out the Umarex hammer, and this thing hits so hard. I mean, you could hear the bullet hit him. I think we're good. I'm sure Wade will want us to wait an hour or 2 before we look, but oh my God, I'm jacked. I'm so jacked. Been after him, like I said, for a long time. This has been a long time coming. Fingers crossed, everything, you know, it hit where I was aiming. Stay tuned, we'll see. We'll go look for him here in a little bit.
I knew Wade wanted to be with me on this recovery because he's been rooting for me as much as I've been rooting for myself.
He must have gone around that tree, and you know the best of all?
Something at the end of that blood trail. Love it. Oh yeah. I didn't think he'd come out of here. God, where'd he go? He couldn't have went, what, 60 yards, 70? He is definitely coming out of velvet, like another night maybe. He's got those 2 little extra points they get sometimes, Wade, right there. That's been at least 3, maybe 4 years in making, right? Trying to get a big one. I mean, we've had our opportunities for sure. These animals are just so smart. Where they're hunted year round, they're just skittish. I've grown to respect them. Started out as hatred, but now it's turned into respect.
Going down to South Texas, hunting with Wade, everybody that we get to hang out with down there, it's almost like a family reunion to me. I love going down there for the hunting, but as much the hospitality as anything, and the cooking. Angel, thank you for all the cooking. The hunting part of it is super unique in the fact that you don't know what's going to step out. I mean, it could be an axis, it could be a black buck, it could be aoudad, whitetail. You really don't know. And just South Texas it holds a special place in my heart, and I hope that Wade allows me to come down there for a long, long time.
Hey, thank you for watching, and join us again next week on a new episode of Americana Outdoors. Americana Outdoors is a Careco TV production.